Senator now, Hollie Hughes, Liberal Senator for New South Wales. Thanks for joining us, Hollie. Just reflecting on that polling from Western Australia, that must concern you. There's a seat that would disappear according to that poll. Do you think it could be tied to climate policy, or how much might it have to do with Mark McGowan's very popular sort of hermit kingdom pandemic management?
As someone who lived in WA for a while, they're pretty happy with a secession strategy over there most of the time. So I would put it down to Mark McGowan and the pandemic management. Whether or not that will continue and his sort of unabated support at record levels when the rest of the country, I mean, we're going to see open international borders from the 1st of November and people travelling. So whether the West Australians enjoy people from Sydney waving at them from Bali, I'm not sure whether Mark McGowan will continue to maintain his current stratospheric popularity levels. But certainly in Swan, we have an absolutely brilliant candidate in Christy McSweeney, and I have no doubt as the election approaches, and we could still be 7 months away, that Christy will hold on to that seat.
We will see. That's a big call, but I think you're right. I think Mark McGowan, things are going to change for him because you've got to open your borders eventually. He's got people so frightened in Western Australia, and he's got the border shut hard. There'll be a lot of families who want to see friends and family from the east at Christmas. They missed it last Christmas, probably prepared to put up with it then, but now with most of the country vaccinated, they would be expecting to get that sort of reconnection, I would think. Let's get back to your home turf of New South Wales and talk about what's been revealed at the Independent Commission Against Corruption. We've heard from the Sports Minister, Stuart Ayres, today that he thought that the bargaining over those grants for the seat of Wagga Wagga was standard political bargaining rather than any special deal between a treasurer and her secret lover. Your thoughts?
Look, I've had a look at it today and some of the things that Stuart said at his testimony. And I think what's interesting when we look at the Clay Target Association, and maybe I need to declare an interest because I went out with Senator McKenzie and Senator McMahon clay pigeon shooting a couple of years ago at the Australian Clay Pigeon Target, you know, the same organisation's place just out of Canberra. It's a sport that is very popular in rural and regional areas. Darryl Maguire in particular was very proactive for his seat. And, you know, we know the expression about the squeaky wheel. He was someone who I think you would definitely consider was a squeaky wheel when it came to pushing for projects in his area. But I think when we look at it, when we had the Obeid's and McDonald that they were sentenced yesterday, and we're looking at $30 million that no one's going after that the Obeid family apparently made from the deals that they did. I cannot see anywhere in any of these allegations that there has been any personal gain, particularly to Gladys Berejiklian. So it might not have been a great judgment call for her to keep her relationship a secret, but I'm not sure that endorsing a very forceful local MP, and there's many of them push very hard for their electorates, endorsing a project that he was looking to that would have generated regional tourism, that would have allowed the Clay Pigeon Target Association to boost more regional events, wasn't creating personal gain for anybody and was in fact boosting the region. I've
got to say, I can't understand really why ICAC is making such a big deal of this, because it's a political decision. And I would, you question the grant. Perhaps the grant shouldn't have been made. And this is a Liberal government looking after Liberal seats, and they should be condemned for that in the normal political way. I think that's the most important relationship. Liberal politicians looking after Liberal politicians rather than the fact that one of them had a relationship. But Stuart Ayres agrees.
Look,
that
dog
relationship,
bites, man? I don't know.
But do you agree?
Politicians looking after their seats?
But yeah, well, exactly, and they should pay a price for it if they actually do it irresponsibly. But to me, that's the key. But the critical point is that Mike Baird has said, and Stuart Ayres has said, that Gladys Berejiklian should have declared this relationship, that it was significant enough. Do you agree with that? That was her downfall.
But she also, I think not declaring the relationship's the problem, but she also wasn't the sole decision maker here. It wasn't something that Gladys just, you know, stamped off herself. So, you know, I'm happy to concede that maybe not making her relationship known was problematic, but I'm not sure how a sporting facility for a very large regional centre with an active and loud local MP pushing for it. And I mean, it's been widely reported that Darryl would ring ministers, would ring staff if his projects were not getting pushed forward.
I know his type.
She was not the only decision maker here. I got to say there was no personal gain. I think it's a very different idea of corruption from what we saw was being sentenced yesterday, McDonald and Obeid.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.